Thanks, Tanya. Not embarrassing at all. Good afternoon, everybody. This is exciting, isn't it? My back is to everybody, but I can almost feel the nods of agreement as all our keynotes have spoken, and it's a really tough act to follow. It's also the best dressed design conference I've ever been at. Best dressed, and it's an audience with the greatest challenges, the hardest jobs, I think, in the country, and the most important jobs. It is kind of ensuring that, as Mary said, we have a better future, we have a better Ireland. I'm absolutely privileged to be here and to have kind of, chaired this group of designers from across public sector and private and academia to develop these principles. And as a designer and speaking for the design community, this is something we have only dreamt about for years because we have seen the value of design. We've seen the impact it's had, mostly in the private sector. And I think today is down to a lot of hard work by designers, really kind of promoting design and ensuring that it gets heard and seen. I have this hobby for years of as soon as a development plan or a strategy comes across my desk, I search for the word design in the hope that that word design is not just going to be a convenient five-letter word that kind of hints towards action and some thought going into something. And I guess my hope is that after today, when we read strategies and development plans, and documents coming out of our departments, that word design now has a process behind it, has a mindset, and is maybe using these principles, because that could change the country. They're small principles, but I think the impact could be absolutely massive. I guess it's very easy to sit here in a comfortable cinema, really comfortable seats, and the lights are dark, to forget what's happening outside. There's a reason we're here talking about design today, a really important reason. We are in a very complex, uncertain, ambiguous time as a government, as a country, and as a world. And it's very difficult to sit in complexity and ambiguity, especially when the tools and the methods and the approaches, the mindsets that we have are not designed for the context of today. The world is very different than how we work today actually worked. Citizens' expectations, eroding trust, massive change that will make your head spin, are dominating everything we do. And we know that design could offer an approach, not to solve these problems, but to take them on, to try tame them, to allow us to work in slightly different ways. And having worked in design and with designers on many different projects, there's something very powerful about framing problems as design problems. And I think if we open up our development plans and our strategies where we use the word design and actually start framing them as design problems, I think it could bring about a real energy. And you've seen that with all our guests, the glint in the eye, the passion. It's energy. It's energy because you now feel like you can do something about it. And I think it'll allow us to ask new questions and work in new ways. And if we work in new ways with different questions, we're going to get different answers. And today, we need different answers. Speaking of reframing, absolutely privileged to ask to chair a working group, but it didn't feel like action. So we reframed it quite quickly. We became a design team. And absolutely a true honor to work with this group of designers and public servants, all passionate about design, all passionate about this country, about making change, and working together for many months, challenging each other, kind of reviewing what was out there and kind of creatively trying to come up with a set of principles that would serve Ireland, that wasn't cookie cutter, that wasn't just taken from somewhere else, that was specifically, intentionally designed for Ireland. And we followed a design process. We started at phase 0, and I guess we were lucky. We stood on the shoulders of giants the work of Mary in New York and Lou in the UK and countless other governments who have done brilliant work. And so Phase Zero was about aligning our own team, creating that vision as what is the purpose of this, what is the job to be done of these principles, going out and talking to public servants who create and deliver services to understand their needs and define that problem, thematically analysing everything we talked about, what we heard, creatively coming up with concepts. We didn't create one document, we created multiple documents and split up to do that and discussed them and debated them to see which ones were working, which weren't. Prototyping. We're still in prototype phase. We prototyped our documents, and the document you have today is a prototype. And there's something very reassuring, especially 20 minutes ago I noticed a mistake. After all our reviews, there's a mistake. I won't tell you where it is. Someone will definitely spot it. But it doesn't feel as scary as it would had I not, and had we not written, this is a prototype on the front. And that's the purpose of a prototype. Maybe it was by design, maybe not. That's what a prototype is. It forgives because we have to experiment, we have to put things out, we have to move quickly. That is the value. As William Deming said, every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets. And so if our system is not working, if people aren't engaging, if people are falling off, if we're not giving the value that we know we should or we could, it's because it's designed that way or not designed that way. And it's this word design that we have to start kind of understanding. I think even in this short period this morning, we've moved beyond aesthetics. We've moved beyond graphic design. We're now seeing that there's something really, really deep and powerful behind this word design. And I have to stop at this point because I think sometimes we get so excited about design, we're almost framing it as a new thing. You know, it's a new approach, it's a new methodology, it's a new mindset. It's not. Public sector, there is design in public sector. We've seen people here today doing brilliant work, but there's also silent design. There's people who, when I put up these principles in a few minutes, they'll go, that's what I do. You know, that is my mindset. I've never thought of myself as a designer. There's a lot of unintentional. We need to move it unintentional to intentional, and there's a lot of incidental. And I think the more people that realize they are participating in a design activity, as soon as you're creating something, a product or a service, that is a design activity, and there's a whole portfolio of approaches and mindsets and tools to help you do that. And I think that should be empowering. We have 10 design principles for government in Ireland, which I am very excited about. And I love hearing ministers calling them prototypes. This language, it just fills me with so much joy. I'm going to walk you through these one by one in a moment to give some of maybe the nuance of each. But these principles, they're not rules, they're not orders. These are seeds. Think of them as seeds. They're there to show you kind of what an approach design might look like, closer to mindsets than rules. The hope is that people here looking at these will think, yes, that's what I do. Or, actually, we're quite weak on this area. Maybe we need to change that. So they're conversation starters, they're seeds for what comes next. Speaking of reframing again, the objective here is not to scale design in the public sector. We're not trying to scale design in the public sector. We are trying to scale new ways of listening, new ways of collaborating, new ways of experimenting and delivering valuable outcomes for the people of Ireland. We just know the literature is clear, the practice, the evidence from practice is clear. Design is the most effective way of doing that. And it's fun, and it's enjoyable, and it's very human, and it's very creative. So it is a win-win-win. And design works because our first principle is we put people first. It starts with people. It starts with the humans, not what the organization needs, not what the organization necessarily wants. It starts with real people. And we leave the building and we go out and talk to them. Siobhan said we have conversations, human to human conversations. It's not focus groups, it's not interviews, it's not surveys, it's humans to humans sharing stories so we can understand the needs, the motivations, the goals, and use that to demonstrate that we've listened through action by delivering services that they value, that are valuable to them. Good design is inclusive. I could almost put a full stop there. We have to design for every citizen in Ireland, no matter what their ability. We have to design our service so that anybody who needs to access that service or who wants to can, and we can do that by design. Very warming to see Jared and Emer and Tim talking about the knock-on benefits of each work. Tim keeps people out of courts, and courts can keep people out of hospital. That's how we design a better public sector, when we have people working together, sharing the insights, understanding the bigger system, what it's all about, joined up, cross-sector, cross-organisation, cross-department. We will design for trust. Again, had I these principles on the screen as people were talking all morning, they would be lighting up. It is essential, especially today when trust is eroding. Design builds trust in multiple ways. Trust in our workforce to say, we know you can go out and talk to people and come up with solutions, and we trust you to bring those insights and develop better services. Building relationships with our service users, with the citizens of Ireland by talking to them, showing them your face, hearing them, and demonstrating that through the services and the products that you design. We will design so knowledge can be reused and shared. Again, critical. If we're going out talking to people, if we're discovering really good ways of doing things, if we're discovering initiatives or service improvements that work, we need platforms to share it. It's not people working in silos against one another. We have to work together and share the knowledge, share the learning, and become a country of learning. This isn't about, we hear fail fast, fail often. This is about learning. And we have to learn from one another, best practice, next practice. We will challenge assumptions and design with evidence. I think when we sit back and really think about what we're doing and question, is this here because it's the right thing to do? Do we have these forms and all these questions on the form because we need them? Or is it an assumption? Is it something that has always been there? Is it something we've just done? There are so many opportunities to challenge what we think we know. We can do that by talking to our citizens, talking to each other, really questioning, is this essential? Is this an assumption we're making about what people want, what people need? And use that to energize your process. We will design from the top down and the bottom up. I think there's often an impression that this is about frontline workers, the people who are right there, close to the service users. It's not. This has to be from the bottom up and from the top down. We need our leaders embracing design, working through design, kind of empowering people to use these principles, to go out and talk to people, providing air cover, kind of supporting this and working towards kind of an all-organization approach to design. We will design to deliver value in all its forms. Something that we don't talk about a lot. We're very much focused on human needs. We start with human needs. It's all about delivering products and services that bring value to human beings. The knock-on effect of that, when we really understand the problem, when we really define the problem, and we use that insight to create a new service, the knock-on is usually savings. we find ways to reduce costs, eliminate redundancies, come up with solutions that are so simple that we've been almost overcomplicating it for years. And we can deliver real value for the citizens of Ireland, but real value for the country of Ireland. We can save money using this approach. Just like our prototype document, we will build, test, learn, and iterate. It's a prototype for a reason. A small group of people developed it over months. As a prototype, we now have a large group of people who are going to take it home and read it. They're going to spot that mistake on page 12. We'll have it fixed before you email us, and we'll improve it. And you'll tell us that Principle 7 is missing something, or what if we did this? And from my experience, I found this. This is the value of prototypes. And I showed this document to a very senior public servant, and he kind of got stuck on page 2. He's like, I've never seen a statement like that in a document with the government logo on the top. And it feels good. It's almost forgiving, and that's the way it needs to be. We need to say nothing is finished. We have to keep iterating. We have to keep improving. We have to keep changing, because that's the way the world is. It's moving, and it keeps moving. And black and white text it's too permanent. Things have to move and respond. And then finally, we will work to make things simpler. I think Charles Mingus once said, kind of making simple things complicated is commonplace. Making the complicated simple, awesomely simple, that's creativity. I would say that's design. That is our job. People's lives are too complicated. Our lives are too complicated to arrive at a service, whether it's a tangible service or a digital service, and have to think too much and have to jump between 50 open tabs on your browser and make phone calls. It's our job to work through that complexity to get to the simple. That is our design principles. Minister Smith will talk more about the next steps. For me, I'm very excited as a designer, as a design academic. And again, I will speak for the design community, and I get Charlotte's nod. The design community is ready to help and support. This is a huge journey we're about to take. We've taken a large step in terms of design maturity in this country. We're moving away from the incredible work that we saw today in the court service, in the Gardaí, where we're designing for discrete problems. We need this to be a capability across our entire public sector. We need all of you to reframe yourselves as designers. That's empowering. And we're a little bit behind our friends in the UK and in New York, but we're a very small country. We're sitting here. We have a large proportion of our public sector here in the room, very powerful, very important people who can make the right decisions. We've also got a lot of grit and a tremendous care for the people we serve. And I think, sorry, Mary, we will come back next year and we will we'll be in a different place, I think. I think if I'm reading the energy right, if I'm reading the nods, I think we'll be in a different place. And the design community are here to support and work with you. And design is too important to be left to designers. We need to work together. And I think if we embrace this design approach we've talked about today, if we embrace these principles, we have a tremendous opportunity to rethink, reimagine, and redesign what public sector is and what it could be. Thank you very much.